Hi guys, I'm Trainer Dan and today we're going to be looking at the Goblet Squat using a dumbbell. Now, for me, the Goblet Squat is an amazing exercise. It is so versatile in its kind of usefulness for a broad spectrum of people and their goals. So it's amazing for beginners on a build up before perhaps they would then go on to a back squat with a barbell, because it really sort of develops the body. For the intermediate, it's really good for practicing kind of depth and then positioning, and then for the more advanced, it's just an amazing add-on because you can really stick it into any exercise if you were supersetting, or you can really progress up quite well with weight. So it's a phenomenal exercise. It's got a lot of benefits with it. So what I want to do is just go through how to perform it, what we want to look for, and what we want to avoid through the range of movement. Now, I'm going to show you the basics of it. There are different variations that we can do, but this is just a basic standard goblet squat, okay? So, first of all, hand positioning is where we want it, and the best hand positioning I find is just cupping it either side, like so. There are people who do different things and hold it like this, but then it wouldn't be a goblet squat, would it? You want it underneath, so it looks like a goblet, okay? So, from there, feet just slightly wider than hip width apart, okay? And now, these are my major points that I'm going to hit on straight away, that you've got to be actively mindful of, otherwise you just won't do it. And it might even take a little bit of practice for you to get this right. Even if you've been doing this exercise for 1,000 years, you may have to think about these points, and that is weight in the heels, weight in the heels, and weight in the heels, because your body is going to instinctively, especially when you get tired, want to start rolling into the toes. And that produces a bit of a negative position and kind of defeats the point of the goblet squat in a sense. We can get a lot fuller muscle engagement, including really activating those glutes by keeping that weight in those heels, okay? And it'll help manage your knee position better and also your back position. So I said a lot there before we've even done anything, so I'll just move on. Get this jammed up under the chin, don't have it too low down, really get it in there. You can squeeze in with them elbows a little bit with it from there. Weight in the heels, and then as we get the drop, just keep your eye line up and just be mindful of your posture. I'll show you sort of side on there. Don't be sort of just slumped as you go down into it, looks very lazy. Actively engage your posture before you even start. So what I tend to do is just tip my hips back just very, very slightly. I'm kind of, I say this a lot, I kind of try and work a neutral posture, and I feel that you have to work the neutral posture. You've got to make it happen and not just sort of, oh, okay, just stand there. You've got to be there with it, okay? You'll see how I do it now, okay? So that's me engaged. You should see a slight difference. That's me relaxed, that's me engaged with the active posture. You can see that, yes? Okay, so from there I'll show you side on. Now, managing your back position is essential, so you want to keep that up all the time as we drop. I'm showing you extra slow just so you can see how I'm working. Now, from here, that would be an acceptable position, okay? That's a nice depth. I've got a nice angle sort of down here through the leg. My knees aren't pushing through and over my toes. I'm sat back nicely, my bum's sat back, and then I've got weight in the heels, and I lift up with that weight in the heels again. So, I'll show you this way. Then, this is what I was going to say, is you can work then on your depth. So for the intermediates, if you really want to get ass to grass, this is a perfect exercise to start practicing with it, okay? So we've got under the chin again, we're down, and then if we want to make that extra drop, maintaining that back up straight, we can sit right down into it. And then your aim there is getting them elbows on the knees, keeping the weight in the heels, and then driving up, but with that back up straight. And this is my next point, is because what will happen is your body is going to try and sort of take the weight out of the legs, and the weight tends to happen with all squats, not just a goblet squat, is you'll be down into position, okay, losing my balance there, you'll be down into position like so, and then what will happen is your bum will kick up first, and then you'll kind of finish the rest off. And you're missing the legs. We don't want to miss the legs. We've got to keep it in there. So from there, we want to be down, we want to keep that back up, keep that weight in the heel, don't go into the toes, and then keep the back jammed up and squeeze up through so we can get a nice full range through that range of movement. A lot of range of movements I said there, but that is your goblet squat. Be very mindful of weight in the heels all the way through. Another thing that can happen as well when you get tired is the knees can start coming in. That's bad. Just drop your weight down a little bit, okay? And then work with it. Or don't go quite down as deep because we don't want them knees squeezing inwards as you lift up. So another thing that I wanted to get through is, I see this happen a lot, especially in classes for some reason, is crashing down. Now, there's nothing wrong with fast repetitions at all, but maintain control. And what I mean by crashing down, I don't even think I'm going to be able to demonstrate it properly, but people just literally let themselves go down. And there's a few bad reasons for that. The obvious being you're not going to be able to think about the weight in your heels, but your total form just goes. You'll collapse at the bottom, your upper body tends to lean forwards, and it's just not good. Always keep control. You're better off slowing your pace down so that you've got control through your range, keeping this back jammed up through that range of movement is priority really, so that we can keep that weight managed through the legs and you've got a nice fullness of range of movement rather than just crashing and kind of your back losing it and your knees being under pressure. It's just not good. I told you I couldn't practice it, I couldn't demonstrate it properly. And then another thing I'm just going to tip on is I'm going back to the weight in the heels, and that is you've got to consistently forever be mindful of it, because if you don't think about it, you will just let it go. And it doesn't matter how long you've been training. If I'm going through any range of movement with any exercise, I'm always thinking about the details that I need to be performing. And so with this, even if I'm going through a goblet squat on a workout, I'm constantly thinking, I'm analysing every single repetition. Is that in my heels? Is that in my heels? Is that in my heels? Is that, consistently. So I encourage you to really think about what you're doing, and it'll kind of change the dynamic of how you're working out, because instead of thinking about the pain and discomfort, you are just going to be focused on performing that technique, being critical. And it's okay if you do a bum rep, because then you can correct and you can kind of work it through. But that is the absolute basics of how to perform a goblet squat.